Welcome to a brand new mailbag edition of the Broncos Breakdown. Should the Broncos re-sign DJ Jones? Now, DJ Jones was once seen as a possible cap casualty, but Denver decided to keep him. And honestly, he delivered in 2024. He did exactly what he was supposed to, stopping the run, clogging up blockers, and letting the pass rush do its thing. That's a key role in any defense, and he played it well. So, should Denver bring him back? It depends. If the Broncos can work out a smart deal, keeping him would make sense. But here's the catch. This year's draft is stacked with talented defensive tackles. If the team can save money by not re-signing Jones and use that cash to build elsewhere, they might end up with an even stronger roster. Bottom line, Jones played great, but Denver has options. Now, moving on to the next question. Emmanuel wants to know the ideal off-season game plan. All right, let's break it down step by step. Cuts? The most likely candidate is P.J. Locke. His first season as a starter in 2024 didn't go as planned, and the Broncos could move on. Ben Powers? Not so much. Cutting him doesn't make sense financially, especially with the post-June 1st rules. Trades? Some might think Denver should trade for a running back. Big names like Alvin Kamara or Travis Etienne could be available. But honestly, that's not the best move. Why? This draft class is loaded with running backs. Instead of giving up valuable picks for a veteran, why not grab a young, fresh talent straight from the draft? So, there you have it. Smart cuts, smart spending, and a draft-focused approach. But what do you think? Drop your thoughts below. When it comes to trades, there's no obvious player on the Broncos roster who looks like a prime candidate to be moved. Sean Payton loves to make deals, so maybe he pulls off something unexpected, perhaps a trade for a wide receiver. But let's be real. I don't see Denver making any blockbuster moves at that position this offseason. Now, let's talk about the draft. If it were up to me, Ashton Jeanty at pick 20. He's explosive, dynamic, and would be a huge addition to the offense. But let's be honest, he might not even be there at 20. So, what's plan B? Tyler Warren. If that doesn't work, Walter Nolan or Colston Loveland could be solid picks. Denver has options, and they need to make this pick count. And then there's free agency. One move I'd love to see? Signing Zach Bond and plugging him into the middle linebacker spot alongside Alex Singleton, assuming the Broncos keep him. That would strengthen the heart of Denver's defense in a big way. Now, on to our next question. Bo Lever asks, if the Broncos go after Cam Skattebo, what round would it be? Here's the thing. Skattebo is a solid running back, but when the NFL Combine rolls around, he might take a hit. Why? He's not the fastest guy on the field, and that's going to turn some teams away. But this is where teams sometimes overthink things. We get so caught up in hand size, 40-yard dash times, and weigh-ins that we forget the most important thing. How did the guy actually play? If you ask me, every NFL team should send a scout to a remote island right after the college season. No combine, no senior bowl, no pro day nonsense. Just freeze them in time, bring them back before the draft, and ask, who were the best players in college football? Because at the end of the day, what happens on the field matters most. And Skattebo? He played great football. As for what round he'll go in, the Combine might drop his stock, but don't sleep on him. All right, let's talk about Talanoa Hufanga. Dr. Carnage asks, do the Broncos have a shot at getting him? Honestly, I'd bet on the 49ers keeping him. Sure, he's missed some time over the last 2 seasons, but that might actually help San Francisco bring him back. Why? Because if injuries lower his market value, he won't be getting a massive contract offer from other teams. And if the price is right, why wouldn't the 49ers keep their former All-Pro safety? Now, if for some reason San Francisco lets him walk, Denver should absolutely take a look. But right now, I think he stays in the Bay. Now, moving on. Show Me the Elway asks, any chance the Broncos trade for Jermaine Pratt after his trade request? Here's the deal. Pratt wants out of Cincinnati, and honestly, that's not surprising. The Bengals have a pattern of letting good players walk, not because they have too many mouths to feed, but because their owners aren't willing to spend big. And look, Pratt might not be in the same league as Roquan Smith, Fred Warner, or Matt Milano, but he's not far behind. He's one of those quietly elite inside linebackers, great at forcing turnovers, solid in coverage, and a big-time playmaker. Oh, and here's something that stands out. He hasn't missed a game in 2 seasons. That kind of durability? That's valuable. Would I be against Denver making a move? Number. But here's the issue: the price. All right, let's talk about exciting off-season moves. If we're thinking big, splashy trades, names like T. Higgins or Chris Godwin come to mind. But let's be real, that's not happening. So, what's more realistic? Zach Bond. Bond had a breakout year in Philadelphia, and if Denver brings him in for $11 to $12 million per season, that's a move I can see happening. Sean Payton knows him well, and if you ask him for his top 3 targets, I'd bet Bond is on that list. Now, on to another question from Matthew Morgan. Should the Broncos restructure Ben Powers' contract and draft an interior offensive lineman early? Here's the thing about restructuring contracts. It lowers the cap hit now, but it pushes more money into the future. And if the plan is to draft Powers' replacement, why make it harder to cut him later? Restructuring now could lock Denver into keeping him longer than they want. That's not smart business. Now, do I like the idea of drafting an interior offensive lineman? Sure, but this draft class isn't great at that position. There's no elite center prospect, which would have been a huge help for Denver. But, hey, you can still find quality linemen in the later rounds. Just don't expect a superstar. All right, next question from Aiden. Would you rather trade a third-round pick for Deebo Samuel in a win-now move, or draft Tez Johnson and build for the future? Here's my take. Denver isn't in win-now mode for 2025. But also, Deebo isn't some washed-up veteran on his last legs. He's not even 30 yet, though his physical play style has led to some injuries. As for Tez Johnson, he's talented but tiny. If you thought Tank Dell was small, Tez is even lighter. And Tank Dell? 2 major injuries in his first 2 seasons. That's the risk with undersized receivers. So, the question is, do you take the proven playmaker in Deebo or roll the dice on a smaller, unproven rookie? Let me know what you'd do. All right, let's be real. Tez Johnson at 154 pounds in the NFL? That's a concern. College football is one thing, but when you're getting crushed by 240-pound linebackers at the next level, that's a whole different wake-up call. I'm not saying he can't make it, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. Now, I'm open to being completely wrong. Maybe in a few years Tez proves everyone wrong and becomes a superstar. If that happens, I'll take the L. But for now, I'd probably go with Deebo. And honestly, I don't think it would even cost a third-round pick. Now, on to a great question from SH20. If you could guarantee the Broncos sign one free agent, who would it be? That's tough. There's no running back or tight end I feel strongly enough about to use this one and only guarantee card, and those are 2 huge needs for Denver. So, let's think. Linebacker, and for me, the pick is Zach Bond. Sure, there are better overall free agents, but Bond fills a real need. Imagine him in the middle of the defense, alongside Alex Singleton. Now, you've got solid players at every level. Up front, Cooper and Benito. In the middle, Bayonne secondary, Pat Surtain II. That's a tough defense to break through. If Denver can lock down the middle of the field, the defense is going to become a serious problem for offenses next season.